after having last week off for the 4th of July, celebrating with our family and friends. Our Nation Sports Show is back, and tonight we have a lot to break down from the past couple of weeks in the world of sports. The NBA's offseason has kicked into a higher gear. Tonight, we break down all of the trades and signings that occurred in the last couple of weeks. Also in the NBA, Damian Lillard has requested to be traded away from the Portland Trail Blazers. Also 2 weeks ago, ESPN let go over 20 employees. On July 25th, San Francisco Giants and Oakland Athletics fans will come together to unite the Bay. Sell the team. It's showtime.
From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sports, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
All right, there we go. We are live. We are here. It is time to rock and roll. It is once again time. It is our Nation Sports Show. You wanted the best. You got the best when it comes to the world of sports. You got it right here, and that is us. Thank you for joining us. I am Ezra, of course, and this is my crew here, and we're going to be talking about, of course, the wonderful world of sports, and we're going to get to that in just a brief moment. But first, we wanted to we hope everybody had a happy and safe 4th of July. Hope everyone did some cool stuff with their families, whether it be fireworks, whether it be family outings, whether it be whatever. It's been a crazy, crazy week. Past couple weeks have been nutty, and we'll get to all that soon. But first, you got to follow us at ON_sports show on Twitter, Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, and Instagram.com/Our Nation Sports Show. Don't forget to follow our individual accounts as well, which will be listed at the bottom of this video. Also follow the Nation's Corner at The Nation's Corner on YouTube. Make sure you give them a follow. Watch their show same time as us, but on Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, covering the wonderful world of professional wrestling. And of course, that includes the usual crew of Debhausen, Tony Justice Front Row, and Mongrovian Mike. So check them out as well on YouTube and their Facebook and Twitter accounts as well. Also, don't forget to follow my crew at Too Sweet Cosplay. Across all of our socials. Our next big event planning anyways should be one day at Fan Expo Chicago, which will be coming up in August, and then of course we'll be there in some form or another at Starcast coming up during All Out Weekend, September, I believe it is September 1st through the 3rd. We will be there, and of course All Out that weekend as well, Dynamite, Rampage, GCW, everything in between. So look out for us. We'll be out there. So, of course, I'll be representing both Nation's Corner and TSC both at the same time. But enough of my spiel. Let's get to everybody. We got a lot to get to. So, let's maybe, as you can see, there's a 3-man group tonight. Kevin is not here, dealing with some personal issues. He will be back in a couple weeks. We wish Kevin the best. And but we got with us the man himself right here, down on my bottom screen, anyways. The great man, the great JT, Joey Thornton is here with us. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having an amazing Tuesday, and please bear with me because I got a little bit of the hiccups right now, trying to get them to go away. So if you see my screen shake like that, that just means I got the hiccups right now. I'm trying to get them to go away, but yeah, I hope you guys are having an amazing Tuesday. After being, in the words of the great Chris Berman, we are back, 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 back after being gone for over a week. We're talking about some sports. We've had plenty of time, to look over some sports. A lot has happened during the past week and a half for sports. So why the hell am I still talking? Let's get to it.
Yep, and then of course, the patriarch of this show, the man himself, the man who fails from the great state of North Carolina, a man who will make his appearances, unlike Ozzy Osbourne. But seriously, though, we wish Ozzy the best. But we'll talk about that another time. We got a lot to get to, and that is, of course, my heavy metal brother from North Kakalaki himself, the one, the only big Stevie Wyand. Steve, what's going on, brother?
What is going on, everybody? We are back, and we are better than ever, as Eric Bischoff's theme would go. We are here tonight to talk about all of the news and happenings from the NBA, from MLB, from the NFL, and whatever has been happening in the last couple of weeks. We got a lot to cover, and with that being said, let's go.
Oh, dude. You say we got a lot to cover. That's an understatement, my friend.
Yes, that is an understatement.
No. That's bigger news than Jeff Hardy showing up at GCW, which is insane, but that's a whole other subject for a whole other show. It's been a busy week, man. It's been a lot of trades, a lot of everywhere. NBA, some NFL news, not a lot, of course, but some decent news. NBA, of course, like I said, been busy. NHL been kind of quiet. Of course, NBA starting their summer league as well. By the way, we got to talk about one thing, and that is speaking of the summer league, as many of you know, summer league is taking place in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, they know how to do it right, and they did it bigger than ever this year, and that is after the 4th of July, they did a little special presentation with help from a brand new venue in Vegas called the Sphere. It is the most immersive venue, performance venue in the entire world. The whole outside is nothing but video screens. The inside, there's video screens around you and speakers everywhere. In your headrest, underneath your seat, to where the visuals and the audio are surrounding you. But it looks like, and of course, it's a venue that U2 has already said they will put 25 shows to kick off the opening of that brand new venue. Of course, that venue is $1 billion over budget. It's actually the people who own the building is actually the owner is actually MSG, the parent company in Madison Square Garden.
Interesting.
So they're the ones who came up with the ideas for this big, huge, giant, almost like a giant golf ball, if you would. But it's got video screens on the outside, and they did a special one where they turned the outside into a giant basketball. And it said, "Welcome to the NBA Summer League" right across it. It was pretty cool. But man, do we got a lot to get into. So many max contracts made, so many trades made. Let's get into probably the biggest news, one of the biggest news items, and that is, of course, the news that Damian Lillard has asked for a trade from the Portland Trailblazers. Lillard, a guy who has been with Portland his entire career, has decided that now he wants out and he wants to explore his other options. Now, the Trailblazers have said they said they're willing to wait months and months to trade Lillard and make the best deal possible. Now, the question I have for you guys to start off the show right is, where do you see Damian Lillard going? What team do you see he's the best fit? Because there's a lot of options out there. But it depends on multiple things. The players that they've already acquired, salary cap, depends on what they're building on. Are they building a super team? Are they building for the future with a veteran who can help anchor the team? It just depends on many different variables. But I want to get you guys' thoughts on where Damian Lillard may end up.
Well, obviously, and before I get into this, of course, the unanimous number one option, which is, of course, Lillard's option, of course. We were talking on the show a few weeks ago about the fact that NBA teams, if they want to go far in the playoffs, they got to have at least 1 to 2 star players, and then they got to have a bench. So, because if they don't have that bench, they don't have that depth they don't have that those reserves to try to get them to the promised land or to where they need to be. So, with that being said, obviously the number one option for Damian Lillard is the Miami Heat. That's obviously the number one option because that's where he said that he prefers to go. But let's take a look at the closer picture here. Miami last year, they had Jimmy Butler, who's still on the team. They have, as of right now, Tyler Hero, who's still on the team. But let's take a look at all the players that Miami has already lost here in the offseason. They've already lost Max Strus. He's with Cleveland now. They've already lost Gabe Vincent. He's gone to the Lakers. They've already lost Victor Oladipo. He's gone to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that's 3 role players right there that Miami has already lost. And keep in mind that a lot of those players were going back and forth between the starting lineup and the bench. So by them already losing all those players, that just makes Miami seem a little bit more lackluster. And even if Miami is willing to land Damian Lillard in an amazing trade package, which could come as soon as tomorrow, or it could come as soon or as later as months and months down the road, like you just mentioned, Ezra, Miami is going to lose Tyler Hero. Either way, regardless of how the trade is going to go down for Damian Lillard, Miami is going to lose Tyler Hero. So there's another role player right there who was mainly in the starting lineup, but also saw some time on the bench also. So that is 4 key players that you're going to lose or have already lost in terms of recruiting one superstar. Where have we seen this before? Oh, yeah, pretty much everywhere. Yes, Miami is going to have Jimmy Butler and more than likely Damian Lillard. But if they don't have that bench that's going to give them that depth, that's going to give them that relief, then what's the point of Miami even trying to build a team around Jimmy Butler and Damian Lillard? I mean, they could make it work, but more than likely they probably won't. So, I mean, there are other options out there that could use a player like Damian Lillard. I know we were talking the other week about possibly Damian Lillard going to the Celtics, but we all know that's not going to happen because that's 3 huge egos on the same side of the ball. So that's never going to work. But there could be there are a multitude of options out there for Damian Lillard. But as far as what we've seen in the past several weeks, only one team has emerged as the potential front runner, and that, of course, is Miami. And I don't see any other teams trying to make a push to try to get Damian Lillard, but this could come as a risk for Miami because, like I just mentioned, they've lost so many role players that they had in the NBA Finals here in this current offseason, and I can see them building the team around Jimmy Butler and Damian Lillard, but like I said, without that bench, they ain't going nowhere.
I can definitely see Damian going to Miami for sure. You know, there was, of course, the proposed trade toss that they would trade Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson plus several draft picks to get Damian Lillard. You know, that was the rumored trade talks going around. I don't know how much more Miami can give, like you said, with Victor Oladipo gone, Struss gone, Gabe Vincent gone. I don't know how much more they're going to be able to give to get a guy like Damian Lillard because you're going to sacrifice all the players while they weren't like super important role players. They still were there for some big moments, and I just can't see Miami giving up any more just to get a superstar like Damian Lillard. Because you got to think you're giving up 2 players, including Duncan Robinson, who had some great shots during the NBA finals and the playoffs, and then you're getting rid of Tyler Hero, who's just coming off a broken hand, who never really got the chance to prove himself in a clutch situation like that because unfortunately he was sitting back with his hand in a fucking wrap. So with that being said, I mean, while I think he would be a good fit, I just don't know, because it's hard for me to see where else he could go. But like you said, Miami is his best option. But I don't know if they want to give up that much more, that since they just lost 3 players to other teams at this point in time.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, and also as well, not to add, also to add to this as well, they could also possibly lose Duncan Robinson, in one of these trade packages. It just depends on if the Nets come through with this, then they'll lose Hero and they'll lose Duncan Robinson. If the Magic come into this situation, they'll just lose Hero. But you've already lost 3 critical role players that were on your team in the last couple of years that helped you reach the NBA Finals and the Conference Finals, and then the Finals again this year. You lost Oladipo, you lost Vincent, you lost Strus. I mean, these were 3 critical pieces that helped Miami get to the Finals against Denver. And it's just, I'm sorry, but I know Damian wants to go to Miami, but if you realistically think about it, who do they have besides Jimmy Butler and Caleb Martin, who is now going to have to step up huge? Because with Strus being gone, with Vincent being gone, and with Oladipo being gone to Cleveland, to Oklahoma City, and to Los Angeles respectively, Martin's going to have to step up a huge way now, because as we all know, in the Eastern Conference playoffs for Miami, Caleb was a huge role player off the bench, hitting big shots against the Celtics, and he should have been the Eastern Conference player of the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm sorry, not Butler. I mean, Butler was good, but to me, Caleb Martin was more consistent because he was looking for a shot more. And this is just, and this is what I wish Lillard would understand, is when you look at the teams that have won the championships in the last 2 to 3 seasons, that would be Milwaukee. And I mean, I'll put Golden State in there because it was Green, Thompson, and Steph, who were the 3 guys, and then they had all the role players. So yeah, we'll throw Golden State in there as well. The last 3 championship teams that have won the title, Milwaukee, Golden State, and Denver this year. These 3 teams, not only did they have great star players like Denver with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, but Denver had critical role players that helped Denver win this championship, like a Bruce Brown, like a Kadavius Caldwell-Pope, Aaron Gordon. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on with this Denver team, because they were so deep at the guard position, at the center position, at the forward position. Michael Porter Jr., a critical role player for this team, in Denver. And then look at the championship team with Golden State from 2 years ago. You had Jordan Poole, you had Wiggins, and Gary Payton II. I mean, those were 3 players right there that were huge contributing assets to this Golden State team in 22, winning the championship. And then in 21, with Antetokounmpo and Middleton and Holiday being the 3 cornerstones of the Milwaukee franchise, they were rounded out by Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, and you can go down the line. I mean, just these 3 teams, solidified that you have to have at least 2 great star players and a great supporting cast. And that's what these 3 championship teams proved, that you don't have to have 3, 4 star players, 5 star players to win a championship, because I think that narrative is dead and buried forever for now. And if Lillard goes to Miami, yeah, it's a sexy move, in the eyes of Lillard, because he gets to play, in good weather in Florida and sunny Miami, Florida. But here's the problem. As we all know, you have to have more than just 2 star players. You have to have role players that can help the star players in critical positions when the game is tight. Because that's the one thing Denver did this past season, in the postseason and in the NBA Finals. I mean, you had Bruce Brown, you had Caldwell Pope, you had Aaron Gordon making, and even Michael Porter Jr. at times, even though he struggled in the finals against Miami. Those three guys, Gordon, Brown, and Caldwell Pope, single-handedly changed the game in critical situations when Miami was going on those runs in Game 3 and in Game 4. Those three players flipped the game around, and Denver ended up winning the series in 5, as we all know. And I don't know how I feel about this possible trade that Lillard wants. What Lillard wants to get. But unfortunately, he's going to have to play ball. And you know Portland wants something out of this. They want a couple of first-round draft picks. They don't want to just give this guy for nothing, because they need to get something out of it. And the interesting factor in this whole situation for Miami is you done lost all of these great role players. You could possibly lose one, obviously, in the package with Tyler Hero, but you would also possibly lose Duncan Robinson if the Brooklyn Nets are involved in this trade. So who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, who the hell knows? That's a very distinct possibility there.
And also, as well, real quick, I don't even know how Miami will do this upcoming season, because I don't think they're going to be a top seed, because you have to have a bench. And I know everybody's going to go, oh, Lillard goes to Miami, and he's going to make them better. Yeah, from a star caliber standpoint, yes. But you have to have also role players. And that they don't have right now for the most part.
Yeah, pretty much. They don't have any star role players. Let's move on to some other trades, man. And there has been a lot, man. Let me tell you, Adrian Wojnarowski, he has been a busy, busy man. And let's get into one of the other big news here as I scroll through his account here, and that is, as I look here, here's one for you. This is big news, but it's more on the coaching side of things, if you will, and that is that Greg Popovich has signed a new 5-year, $80 million deal to be president of basketball operations and, of course, the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs.
Wow. Interesting.
Yep. It says right here. It says it's possible his new deal allows him to earn out the contract even if he doesn't coach the full 5 years of his deal. So you got that going on. You got, of course, you know what they say about villains, right? Villains get paid, and the villain got paid, and that's Dylan the Villain Brooks. He is now Houston's headache. Houston, they have a problem. Houston, they have a problem, and it is a 4-year, $80 million problem as Dylan the Villain Brooks has joined their team.
Are you kidding me? You're signing this knucklehead for $80 million? Wow. Just wow. I mean, I know Houston was a bad team last year, but good grief. Like, this is one of the most stupidest moves in basketball in quite some time. I mean, does the Rockets franchise have stupid idiot written across their freaking forehead? I think they do.
As much as the Oakland A's do. So there you go.
Yes. I mean, this is bad. This is beyond bad. This is a huge problem for the Rockets. And so all of the Rocket fans out there, God bless you for being a fan of this team, because you're going to be even more bad.
And sorry about your damn luck.
Shout outs to James Storm.
Yep. Shout out to Cowboy. By the way, because we just made a Cowboy shout out, we got to shout out Trenda too. Trenda. Detroit. Yep. Yesterday we found out that Isaiah Stewart got a rookie contract extension, 4 years, $64 million to stay with Detroit.
Okay. Cool.
Isaiah Stewart getting a little bit of some coin there. Patty Mills got traded again, this time for the third time, a couple days ago. The Atlanta Hawks are traded Ty Washington, Usman Garuda, Rudy Gay, and a second-round pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Patty Mills. The Hawks saved $4.5 million in the deal. It said his $6.8 million expiring contract will continue to have value in deals. So there you go.
And Patty Mills, he's a credible role player. I mean, he won a championship with San Antonio in 2014, and he was a huge contributing factor off the bench for Tony Parker in those finals against Miami. And just pretty good move for Atlanta. Good for them.
Yeah. Also, real quick, want to get real quick before we continue the trade talks. On a provisional basis in the summer league going on right now is the in-game flopping penalty that's being introduced. And that is this, and this is the penalties. If a flopping penalty is assessed by game officials, the opposing team will be awarded 1 free throw and possession of the ball. A player who commits a flop will be assessed a non-unsportsmanlike conduct, technical foul, which does not count as a personal foul or lead to ejection. Officials will not be required to stop play to call a flopping violation. They can wait until the next neutral opportunity to stop play.
Ooh.
LeBron.
Chris Paul.
James Harden. If James Harden ain't flopping on the floor, if James Harden ain't flopping on the floor, he's flopping in strip clubs. We all know that.
Heyo.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why he's still single.
And of course, if he was still playing in the NBA today, Chris Bosh.
Yes, can't forget about Chris Bosh.
Yep. Oh, God help us. Here's some other deals. Here's a big one here. Anthony Edwards getting a max deal from the T-Wolves. 5-year, $260 million rookie max.
Woo! Getting that money. Well,
got that money.
I can't fault the guy. I mean, he was pretty damn impressive last year against Denver in the first round. I mean, got to give the guy a lot of credit. He showed up and showed out, and hey, get that money there, pal. Hey, make your money while you can.
Yep. Looking like also right here, the guy we haven't heard of in a while, Cody Zeller. He got basically a veteran's deal, 1 year, $3.1 million with the New Orleans Pelicans.
Nice.
Very nice.
Let's see. Miles Bridges has decided is prepared. He signed a qualifying offer, $7.9 million for the 2023-2024 season. He's now he will be an unrestricted free agent next summer. So there's a possibility he may be kept around, but we will see. Let's see.
Is this okay for you to take tomorrow? I got your chicken making. Is this okay?
Pretty good deals going around this past week in the NBA.
Dude, and there's plenty more. That's why I'm looking it up right now. And while we're talking about this, while we're talking about new sports, while we're talking about the NBA, I mean, right here, here's a big one. Grant Williams. He has signed a 4-year, $53 million deal with a sign and trade agreement to land with the Dallas Mavericks.
Wow, that's a pretty good pickup for Dallas. I mean,
and hold on, Steven. Boston is landing 3 second-round picks in the deal, including 2024, 2025, and 2028.
Ooh, okay. So Boston gets picks out of this, so that's good for them. But it's also another huge loss for their team because they've lost 3 critical role players that have helped them get to the finals last year and that guided them to a Game 7 against Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they done lost Smart. They done lost Smart. They done lost can't think of his name. And then they obviously now just lost Williams. I mean, just another loss for the Celtics. I mean, just losing all these great role players to help them get, to the conference finals and the finals last year. I mean, I don't think Boston is going to be the team that they were in the last couple of years. So yeah, another huge loss for the Celtics.
Yeah, absolutely. Big loss for the Celtics on that one. Another big deal right here. Staying with the Kings is Domantas Sabonis. Got himself a 5-year, $217 million deal.
Good grief.
Including $195 million in new money.
Wow. Man.
Yep.
Man. He better get some more tissues because he'll be crying too.
Yeah, tell you what, these players, they're getting these max contracts. I mean, Sabonis, Halliburton, LaMelo Ball. I mean, these players, they're racking in the dough right now. They are really racking it in. And honestly, they deserve it. I mean, Sabonis, along with De'Aaron Fox, were the anchors of that Sacramento Kings team last season. Halliburton completely tore it up for Indiana, even though he was the only one tearing it up. I mean, he was still doing a great job of it. Mm-hmm. And then LaMelo Ball, I mean, he's on his way to becoming the true star guard in Charlotte. So, I mean, yeah, these players, they are really reeling in the dough.
Yep.
What's up, William Gyron? How you doing, sir?
Hey,
what's
William.
up, Elder?
Yep, we see you in the chat, brother. Elder, what's going on, brother? We'll see you in a few.
What's up, Elder?
Yep.
Sorry about your Mets.
Oh. Low shot. Low hanging fruit there, man.
Sorry, not sorry.
You wonder why he will never come on the show and deal with us idiots. That I make fun of him for being as old as the first ever rock freaking found. You know, that's just me. Dante Exum, if you guys remember him, a former number 5 overall pick, he's back in the NBA. He is signed with the Dallas Mavericks on a guaranteed deal. So he's back.
Oh, real quick, Brogdon was the player I was thinking about for the Celtics that they also lost in the offseason.
Yep. So here's another one. 4-year, $50 million deal for Dante Vincenzo to the New York Knicks.
Ooh.
Yep. Let's see. Here we go. Like I said, that's right. 2-year, $7.8 million deal. Westbrook returning to the Clippers.
It's not surprising.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, if you look at it. Hey, by the way, you weren't here for a minute when we had that conversation about the villain getting himself some money. 4-year, $80 million to be the anchor. I'm the anchor of the team. I mean, to sink the team. I mean, to be the anchor of this team to help them win. So what do you think about that, Mr. Joey Thornton?
He should have booked the ticket to Europe. But no, he had hopes that he was going to be signed by an NBA team. And keep in mind, Mr. Dylan the Villain Brooks, the team that you were on compared to the team that you're going to be playing for, major downgrade. So
nope.
You enjoy your time, Dylan. I bet that contract won't even last a season before they get rid of your sorry butt.
And you mentioned LaMelo Ball. Yep, 5-year, $260 million for LaMelo. Let's see. Real quick, couple more deals before we move on to some other stuff. Patrick Beverley has signed with this 1-year deal with the 76ers, leaving, of course, after 1 year in Chicago.
His theme song now should be starting to be "I've Been Everywhere." Man, come on! I mean, he's been everywhere. It seems like he's been to Houston. He's been to the Lakers. He's been to everywhere. Jesus.
Yeah, that man's starting to become a journeyman of all people.
Yes,
he really is. Here's a.
Can you say Jeff Green 2.0?
Yeah, very much so.
How about this? The brothers are back. The brothers are together, and that is Brooke and Robin. Brooke is joining. Brooke has joined his brother Robin in Milwaukee.
Nice.
This was back on July 1st. 2-year, $48 million deal to join the Bucks.
Well, that's cool. That means more weapons for Milwaukee.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Robin, who was already signed to the team, will stick around for a little bit. Of course, now that his brother is a part of it as well. So the brothers reunited, and now they're going to take on. It says right here, Damian Lillard's trade doesn't change Portland's intention to sign Jeremy Grant to a 5-year, $160 million contract agreed upon that Friday before the 4th of July.
That contract is still the worst of this offseason. I mean, why? What the hell has he done in the NBA? Nothing.
Yeah.
That's a huge risk.
Yep. Let's see.
I don't like the trade at all.
Yeah. Right here, D'Angelo Russell has agreed on a 2-year, $37 million deal to stick with the LA Lakers. So
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
D'Angelo's sticking around. Yep.
And listen, I mean, Russell played pretty well last year in the second half of the Lakers season because he was one of the pieces that helped LA get to where they were, and that's get the 7th seed in the NBA postseason. So good for him. He's sticking around.
You mentioned the Kings, about how the Kings have had some great success last year with the weapons they have. Well, they got a newer weapon now.
Oh yeah.
EuroLeague MVP by the name of Sasha Vezenkov, a 6'9" shooting stretch 4-man. He played in Greece. It is expected to play a formidable role for the Kings. Signed on a 3-year, $20 million deal.
Interesting. I mean, because that's become the new norm in the NBA. You know how Steph Curry years ago changed the game with the 3-point shooting. Well, Nikola Jokic just changed the NBA's game for the big men because now these big guys are coming out of college and overseas and stuff and signing with these NBA teams, and just big guys, 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", stretching the floor, playing down there in the paint and also getting out to the perimeter and shooting jump shots. So, we'll see, how this move proves for us, Sacramento.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it proves. I mean, it's a lot of foreign players who haven't gone through the NBA system have come in and really, really made the names for themselves without having to be drafted. We've seen that in the past. There has been degrees of success. So it proves that you don't need to be, competing in the U.S., have to go through the draft class, pick whatever, and all that to be success in this. We've seen that in the past. But we'll see how this man does. Hopefully he can be a formidable role for the Kings and push them back into the playoff picture. Couple more trades before we get into the ESPN stuff, and that is, of course, we talked about Victor Oladipo signing, going to OKC. That way they can absorb his $9.5 million expiring contract. So that'll be good with that. You mentioned Halliburton, Tyrese Halliburton. Another 5-year, $260 million goes to him. Like you said, he tore it up and deserved that contract. Another player that got a huge deal, Desmond Bane. 5-year, $207 million max contract extension.
Interesting contract for Bane. Pretty good player. Let's see what
very interesting.
See what results he can produce on the court.
And also, don't forget, Derrick Rose has signed with the Memphis Grizzlies.
That's right. He did sign with the Grizzlies.
Yep. Lakers lost a shooter in their rights. They lost another shooter, and that being Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder has signed a 2-year, $26 million deal with the Toronto Raptors.
Ooh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. Let's see right here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Free agent guard Fred VanVleet has agreed on a 3-year, $130 million contract with the Houston Rockets. So the 29-year-old kid in his prime is going to be going there.
And he's a pretty good role player himself, obviously helping Toronto win the NBA championship in 2019 against Golden State.
Yes.
Yep.
Cam Johnson, restricted free agent, signed a 4-year, $108 million deal, stayed with Brooklyn.
Good move from Brooklyn.
Yep.
I like that.
Very good move.
Chris Middleton signed a new 3-year, $102 million deal to stay with Milwaukee.
Ooh, excellent.
Chris Middleton.
Yeah, Milwaukee knew they needed Chris Middleton to come back, and they were going to do everything they could to make sure he did come back.
Oh, he's he's a starter, one of their most important role players, an amazing, just one of their stars on that team, and they needed to keep him.
Yeah, Milwaukee knew they weren't going to let him walk.
Oh no.
You couldn't afford to have him walk because you can't just have Giannis out there by himself being the leading man.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see real quick. Important deals. We're gonna check real quick, and then we'll move on to the ESPN firings before we get HiJacker Mike coming in here at close to the top of the hour here with his live version of Nation Fights. We forgot to mention that our boy HiJacker Mike will be with us here towards the top of the hour between 8 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. Eastern to do a live report of Nation Night Fights, which is coming back, and we're happy that show is coming back. He's also working on a new intro for us. So this may be the last time you hear the Our Nation Sports Show music intro and outro. We'll be getting new stuff coming soon, and very excited for that. Just wanted to
Very excited.
Just wanted to let everybody know about that. Let's see. Kobe White has agreed on a 3-year, $40 million deal to stay with Chicago.
Smart move by Chicago.
Kobe
Smart move.
Yes, Kobe White was great last season. He proved that he earned that contract last year. He one of the few players that helped keep that team afloat when Zach LaVine wasn't performing well, when there was issues, of course. The biggest news is that unfortunately Lonzo Ball has been put on the disability list for the NBA this year. More than likely his career is over, but that's a whole different subject for a whole nother day.
Yeah.
Free agent Kyle Kuzma has signed a 4-year, $102 million deal to return to the Washington Wizards.
Interesting pickup.
Interesting.
And of course, probably the biggest news, and that is according to. Wait, I think we covered that. Let me see my dates here. I'm making sure everything is right because it's been a long week. I don't remember what we did last Sunday. So,
did we cover Draymond Green's contract?
That's what I was getting ready to. That's the one I was checking the date on when we did the last show.
I believe we did.
No, we didn't.
Oh, we did not.
No, because
we
talked about it in the chat, but we never talked about it on the show. So
yeah, because whenever we did the show last, free agency hadn't even started.
Yep.
This news dropped on the 30th, and our last show, I believe, was the 27th.
It was, that was our last show. Yep, you're right. Correct.
So Joey, lead the facts, brother, since you mentioned it.
Hang on just a second. I gotta pull it up here.
I got it if you want me to go ahead and say it.
I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and say it.
Okay, no problem, man. Yep, and the biggest news is Draymond Green is sticking around with the Warriors. 4-year, $100 million contract with a player option in the final season to re-sign on the first day of free agency. And of course, that was Draymond's whole goal, was to stay with Steph and Clay until the very end. He didn't want to leave to go anywhere else. He decided to go ahead and forego his player option this season, quote unquote, test the waters of free agency. And then they were able to give him an offer that he was fine with, and he signed that contract, and now he's sticking around with the Splash Brothers for another 4 years.
And this move for Golden State is huge because this
critical.
This keeps the core 3 together for 4 more years, basically, possibly 5. And having Steph, having Clay, having Draymond, the 3 cornerstones of this dynasty. If these guys can make another couple of moves on that bench, they can be a dangerous team like they have been in the past 8-9 seasons.
Yep.
When they are healthy, when those three guys are together, they are the best at what they do. And I mean, when this whole drama with Golden State started, I did not like the fact that Green and Poole got into the fight because I thought Green initiated it. But after, like we said a couple weeks ago, before we took our week vacation, before this contract, was signed, if Green was to sign back with them, it wouldn't surprise us that obviously he did on the 30th. I mean, because Poole was the problem, and Poole got, exited out, stage left, if you will, and he was shown the door, and that was it, and I think that, Golden State did what they had to do, to get rid of him, to get rid of the problem. And I mean, now that you have these three guys, the three main people of this team together for another 4 or 5 seasons, who knows what Golden State can do?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Real quick, Joey.
Speaking of which, we were on the show, when we left at the show a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Me and Steven gave our insight. So, Ezra, what's your insight on the whole Jordan Poole trade that sent Jordan Poole to the Wizards and Chris Paul to the Warriors?
I'm not a fan. Obviously, but Jordan Poole, unfortunately, this offseason was not the Jordan Poole that we're used to seeing. This was a Jordan Poole that was lackluster in his performances. But despite that, I don't think he deserved to be traded. To me, Chris Paul is an older veteran. He's not playing at the level that he used to anymore. He's still a great shooter. Do not get me wrong. I'm not discrediting Chris Paul at all. He's one of the elite shooters. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's got credentials beyond credentials. He's been with teams. He's had success. Has he won that elusive title? No, but there's players in the Hall of Fame who haven't won championships, who have been great role players, who have been great players just in their own right. I'm not discrediting CP3 at all, but you got to think he's an older guy. He's been around the league. He's been through many teams, and this is another one. I just don't see the fit for Chris Paul. You already got a pure shooter like Steph Curry. You got Clay who could play multiple different variations. You got Draymond, who's considered by many to be the best big man in the NBA, far none. You've got, that whole team. You got Kevin Looney. You've got and then you add new role players, and you've got, all these different people coming in. Look, to me, Jordan Poole shouldn't have been traded. He should have been given at least one more year, and then maybe consider him for a trade if he continues to show the lack of improvement he did in the NBA playoffs this past year. I really don't know about this one. This one is head scratching, and like I said, it's no slight to Chris. Chris, like I said, future Hall of Famer, one of the best shooters that I've seen in my generation. Great guy, but to me, I feel like this was it's not a critical mistake. I'm not going to say it's a critical one, but it's a pretty good sized mistake by Golden State. They should have never traded for Chris Paul.
Oh no, not by a long shot.
No. Yeah, like I said, this is not a critical error. This is not something that's going to screw them for the rest of their time, because they still got so many players that the Chris Paul factor may not even matter. It may not even matter. It may not cause the detriment to the team. It's not like they're signing Dylan Brooks, who's unfortunately been a cancer to the team, as it was a part of before because of his attitude. Chris Paul is a role player when played right. He's a good team player. He's not going to take the spotlight for himself per se. He knows where he lies on that team's roster. So he's going to play his role perfectly, or as perfect as he can, based on, like I said, his age, his physical ability, and all that stuff, and depending on how many minutes he gets. So,
yeah, for sure.
But I just it's head scratching. But all the best to Chris Paul. I hope he maybe we say it every year, every time he gets traded. But maybe this could be with a team like this, a dynasty like this. Maybe this is the environment that he needs to finally get the one thing that has eluded him his entire career, and that is an NBA championship. But
All
we'll
the
see.
great accolades that Chris has had over his, Hall of Fame playing career, he has never won a championship. He came so close in 21 with Phoenix against Milwaukee, but he couldn't get it done. But maybe, just maybe, with the right supporting cast around Green, Curry, and Thompson, and obviously Paul being the fourth guy there, main guy there, maybe he can finally get over the hump and win a championship. Just like Kevin Durant won 2 championships, and Durant obviously was the finals MVP in 17 and 18, respectively.
By the way, I gotta give a big round of applause to the Golden State Warriors for signing Draymond. That was great. Big round of applause, everybody. Big round of applause.
Absolutely. I mean that news broke like literally as soon as free agency hit.
Yep.
So I mean Golden State knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. So all the credit in the world goes to the Warriors for getting their getting their guy back.
Absolutely. Hold on. Here. And for and when it comes to Dylan Brooks signing, because the Houston Rockets signing Dylan Brooks,
all-time bonehead play.
Oh my gosh.
look up all-time bonehead play. But yeah, that's pretty much the bulk of the big signing trades and all that stuff for the week. Before HiJacker gets in here, let's get into the biggest news, one of the biggest news of the week, and that was the layoffs from ESPN. And it's crazy. All the people that were let go, including some surprising names that we did not see coming. Here's all the names that were fired. There might be some names that I could be missing, so bear with me if we get to it. David Pollock, Jason Fitz, Jordan Cornette, Todd McShay, which was one I did not expect Todd McShay to get let go. LaFonso Ellis, June Lee, Ashley Brewer, Neil Everett, who's been around forever, Rob Nikovich, Steve Young, Matt Hasselbeck, Chris Chelios, the former Chicago Blackhawks, Chris Chelios, Suzy Kolber, Max Kellerman, Keyshawn Johnson, Jalen Rose, and Jeff Van Gundy. All were let go by ESPN in a mass layoff spree that nearly let almost 20 employees go to save money. And they were getting rid of those 10 plus years on ESPN's contractual statuses. But some of the names that were saved included, of course, Stephen A. Smith, Pat McAfee, a few others were also saved.
Scott Van Pelt.
Scott Van Pelt. Just so many other. Shannon Sharp has been linked to this as well, now that he's gone from Undisputed. So, just crazy day, man.
And the biggest culprit of them all, still under contract with ESPN, that idiot himself, Kendrick Perkins.
Yes, I was just about to say they're missing a name from the list.
You know why you forgot? Because the freaking dude is just a massive, just knucklehead. I mean, he says things that makes an ass out of himself. I mean, he should be in the next Shrek reboot because he's a donkey, he's a jackass. Oh my God. I mean, you let go Kolber and Young and Kellerman and my God, all of these Van Gundy, you let go of all of these people, but you keep Perkins around? Come on.
Yeah, but here's another interesting question. Since football is starting back up, think of those names that that did get released. Names like Steve Young, Suzy Kolber, Matt Hasselbeck, Keyshawn Johnson, there's 4/5 or possibly the entire Monday Night Countdown crew. So with football starting back up, who the hell's going to host Monday Night Countdown?
Exactly. And also as well, the Sports Center night, cast in Los Angeles, not having Ashley there, not having Neil there. And Neil was there for years. I mean,
Neil was there for years, but they just kid him to the curb like he's a piece of trash.
and he's been there for years. I mean, and Ashley, was holding her own, on ESPN. She was pretty good, I mean,
By the way, real quick, congratulations to Ashley Bruce. She just they got married back in March, but now they're officially celebrating their her and her husband are officially celebrating their wedding recently. So congratulations to them.
Good.
Yeah, Frank the Tank Kaminsky.
Yep.
It's a travesty what ESPN has become. And and we have talked about this before, how ESPN does not give other sports the platform, that they deserve, like women's sports. Women get hardly any recognition on ESPN's network and hardly any commercial ads to promote their stuff. And they wonder why, they don't get hardly any attendance because, well, you don't promote them, and also as well, what ESPN has been lacking in the last several years is personalities. All they care about now is controversy. And shout outs to Urinating Tree on YouTube. He's made 2 videos talking about ESPN, and Tree has talked about this, saying that honestly, he said, you don't need a network like ESPN to voice your opinion on sports. Just look at us, a group of us, me, you, Ezra, Joey, Kevin, Randy, Mike, when he's available and he comes on. We all come on here and we give our opinions on sports. And we're not getting paid for this shit. We do this because we love talking about sports. It's the easiest, most fun gig in the world, just talking about sports. And it's a travesty what ESPN has become in the last 5 to 7 years, because all they care about is controversy and clickbait. And that's what First Take is. It's clickbait. It's controversy. That's why Kendrick Perkins has still got a job, because he brings the headlines for all the wrong reasons. And JJ Redick called him out on his bullshit. He's like, Stephen A., I love you, brother, but Kendrick Perkins, this is why I can't stand this show, is because you come on here and you make an absolute mockery of yourself and everybody around you. And that's the thing that drives all of us sports fans and all of the YouTubers out there, all of the podcast people out there that do sports podcasts out there. You don't need a major network to give your opinions on sports, because let's be honest here, sports YouTubers and people that do podcasts will do a better job at giving honest opinions and breaking down stadium numbers than ESPN does. Because all ESPN does is they try to skew their beliefs or their reporting schemes to the viewers on how they want you to perceive that. And that's not how everybody operates anymore. They don't go to ESPN looking for, great recaps of sports and people with personalities. You can go on to YouTube and you can go on to, Twitter and Instagram and streams and stuff, and all these different podcast platforms and stuff, and hear people on Spotify and Apple and stuff giving their hot takes on sports and their honest opinions, and also having character, having personality. And ESPN, you dropped the ball by letting go some of the greatest talents that has been with ESPN for at least 25 to 30 years.
Absolutely.
You mentioned football, and I wanted to give this a plug real quick. I believe it is tomorrow or Thursday on Eddie Trunk's radio show, Trunk Nation. He is going to be having none other than the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts himself, Jim Irsay, on the show.
Nice.
Wow.
Yep, Jim Irsay will be on there to talk about his music collection, and he buys from different auctions, including such things such as handwritten Beatles lyrics, the guitar that David Gilmour played on "Comfortably Numb" on the on the album.
On the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, on the wall. The famous Jaguar guitar that Kurt Cobain played in the Smells Like Teen Spirit video. He's got all of those. And he walked us around and does exhibits for that. And outside of being the president of football operations for Indianapolis, he's also a big music buff and a big music collector. So he'll be on the show that day to talk about his music collection and also probably a little bit of football too. So check him out on SiriusXM 103 Faction Talk, either tomorrow or Thursday. Just keep an eye on social media for that.
And also, real quick, William Gyron says in the chat that he agrees with us that all of these contracts in the NBA's offseason are just ridiculous.
I agree. But yeah, real quick, and since while we're waiting on HiJacker to show up here, which hopefully will be very, very, very shortly. Real quick, I want to get into I believe we got a couple other things we need to get into, and that is last night was the home run derby. And
that's right. We had 8 major league players get their big bats and hit some balls that went back, and gone.
Absolutely. And congratulations to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who won the home run derby 22 years after his father had won the home run derby. Congratulations.
Yes, definitely.
But of course, the biggest story is that Alex guy. I don't know his last name because I don't know who he is. Alex, I believe it's his name, or Andy. He was the baseball player. Here we go. I think I got it. No, I don't. But anyways, that went down last night, and tonight, actually going on right now, should be the All-Star game.
Yep, it's going to be, actually, as a matter of fact, they're probably just about to get started here.
And also in the chat, William asked the question, do you guys think that the batters that were in the home run derby's arms, did they possibly get tired during the second half of the season? That's a good question there, William. It's a good question.
That really is a good question. I mean, if what we saw in the second round was going to be any indication, I mean, take a look at Julio Rodriguez, for example. I mean, the guy absolutely lit it up in the first round, hitting 41 home runs, breaking Vlad Jr.'s record from 3 years ago when he hit 40 in the first round. And Julio Rodriguez beating Pete Alonso by a whole 20 home runs. And then in the second round, only hitting 20. And in a losing effort to God, I can't remember who he lost to. I think it was Vlad Jr. actually.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see here real quick. Of course, there's a lot going on in the world of sports right now. Let's see here. Let's see what ESPN has to say today. Real quick, you know, as you know, we were on a little bit of a hiatus, obviously, because of the holiday. But you know, I just hope everybody did everything well, everybody was safe. And, you know, we all had a great holiday. We all had our own family things. We all did some stuff. I sat out a parade for 2.5 fucking hours and got sunburnt on my balding head, my face, and my neck. I looked like Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob for fucking 4 days.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Okay. All right, here we go. Some other news real quick. One of the biggest news stories today, and that is that Northwestern has fired their head coach, Pat Fitzgerald, after some very, very, very serious allegations. He was fired. Yep, they fired him for
regarding hazing.
Yeah, regarding hazing, yeah. Yeah, so he was terminated. Yeah, he was terminated by Northwestern today. So right now there's a lawsuit thing going on right now as well. So big news out of the college world with the firing of Pat Fitzgerald out of a very school that was really starting to really make a lot of noise with this. So big more controversy in the college world, of course. Oh yeah, that's right. Also other big news is that the former doctor for the US Olympic team right now, Nasser, who's serving many years in jail for the sexual assault and violations he did against the US gymnastics team. He got stabbed in prison 15 times.
Wow.
Yep. He was stabbed in prison 15 times earlier.
And there he is, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the host of Nation Night Fights, the leader of the Rooted in Oakland movement, and the only man who could rock a beard like that better than Scotty and of Anthrax, the one, the only, Mr. HiJacker Mike. What's going on, brother? Good to see you.
What's up, brothers? How y'all doing?
We're doing good, man. How about you?
What's up, y'all? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just got out of the main job. Now I'm over here chilling in front of the cigar lounge where I'll be working shortly. But felt like I wanted to jump on with y'all and see what was going on. Maybe touch a little bit of baseball with the All-Star game. What's going to happen in the fifth inning with some Oakland Athletic news and a little boxing report that I have not been able to do for quite some time.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And we'll get 1 second. But first, I want you to go. You actually have a new venture that you're trying out that you want to promote, and that is, of course, Smoke in the Bay. Why don't you let the folks here on our Nation Sports Show tell about this new channel you're starting?
Most definitely appreciate it. Yes, thank you for reminding me, because I wanted to throw it in there, but it slipped my mind because I'm in the process of having my logos created. Because right now I just threw up some basics, but yes, I will be starting probably within the next 2 to 4 weeks a channel for reviewing cigars. I work in the industry I've been in the industry for the last 2 years. I've been smoking cigars since 1998. So I figure, hey, let me try my luck. I like sitting, talking with people about Smoke in the Bay, which it's me reviewing cigars, pipe tobacco, and accessories in the premier line of cigars and tobacco. The owners and the manager at the lounge should be heading back from PCA, which is a Premium Cigar Association, which you go out to in a closed event to owners only. And got to go and talking with cigar creators, growers of tobacco. And, I said, why the hell not? Why don't I just try my luck? I sit here and talk cigars 3 days a week with people that come stop by. So why not start something and see where it goes, man? I got family running wrestling. I got family running sports. Hell, let's cover some cigars because we got a handful of cigar smokers in the lineup with us right now.
Yep. Obviously, the Busted Open Cigar Club, of course, that is one of our side there. Of course, you can follow them as well. But yeah, this is a very cool venture you're doing, and we're definitely excited. We followed you on our social media, of course. It's Smoke NDHABAY, Smoke in the Bay on YouTube and on Twitter, correct?
Yep, on Twitter and YouTube at this time. Not sure if I'm gonna venture out because I don't want to have to deal with 101 different things, but I guess the YouTube channel is the main one, Smoke in the Bay, which you got an N. Instead of in, it's just an N, and the has an A instead of an E because it's a homage to the town. As well as at the current time, my logo, when I'm having my graph created, it's going to have the Oakland A's A in it for the current time. If they happen to leave, it will be changed up. But as of right now, I'm representing my last remaining team in the city I'm born and raised in from. So that's where I'm at. So I'm just going to have a little bit of fun with this and see where it goes.
All right. you wanted to get into a little bit of baseball talk, and I know you mentioned something about the 5th inning with the Oakland A's game. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know what's going on there?
Yes, most definitely. If everybody remembers, we'll rewind back to June 13th of last race. We had a reverse boycott where 27,000 fans had showed up to the Coliseum off of the word of one person's mouth, Stu Clary, who started it. He came out on Twitter and just said, hey, let's start a reverse boycott to show this owner, John Fisher, piece of trash, show him that we care. The reason why people do not show up to Oakland A's games is because you don't have a product on the field. Let me ask you guys a quick question. When you go to see your favorite sports team, it doesn't matter, hockey, baseball, basketball, NFL, if the owner and the front office is not putting in a quality staff or a quality playing personnel on the field, do you spend your hard-earned money and consistently go when your players are constantly left to leave or get traded before their rookie contract or the first 3 to 4 or 5 years are up, when they're becoming superstars go? Do you stick with your team, or do you start griping and be like, hey, you got to sell the team or stick it up, start doing something? What do you guys think happens when something like that happens, when an owner starts neglecting his stadium, his fan base, and doesn't give a shit about his players? Let me tell you, Marcus Semien, who is in the All-Star game for the Texas Rangers, former Oakland Athletics, do you know what he was offered before he left Oakland in 2021 to go to Toronto? He was offered a one-year deal for $12 million, paid $2 million up front, and 10 years of $1 million increment payments, some Bobby Bonilla shit. Who the hell has heard of that? Who pays their players?
Honestly, I'm in the same road as you, HiJacker, because this is from a different sports perspective, but what you got going on with the Oakland Athletics right now with John Fisher and Dave Cavill is what I experienced since 1999 with the Washington Redskins, now the Washington Commanders, with Dan Snyder as the owner. Dan Snyder, he was an absolute poison in that front office. He didn't care about the players. He didn't care about the fans. He didn't care about the stadium. Fall apart. And what was he doing? He was sitting back in his chair just counting the bucks as they were coming in, because Dan Snyder is an absolute cancer. And I am so, so glad that whenever the NFL owners come together, and I would say in about a week and a half, to vote on the Commander's sale, it's going to get approved. I'm willing to bet it's going to get approved by all 32 NFL owners, or all 31 NFL owners, which will finally approve the sale from Dan Snyder to the group led by Josh Harris. So Josh Harris, I think he's going to be one of the best owners that Washington's had since, I don't know. I totally get where you're coming from, HiJacker. Absolutely get where you're coming.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, man. Most definitely. It just comes down to the point where the team has to be sold. MLB has to come out. The owners have to come out when they have their vote and vote no. Because right now he's being waived of the $500 million or $1 billion relocation fee. And if that's the case, then every other team that's looking to move is going to want the same treatment. So right now it's up to the owners to step up. Hey, put your billionaire buddy money shit aside and stop this team from leaving Oakland. Oakland will show up. It may not be sold out every game, but you'll go from a Tuesday night with 2,000 fans to at least 10 to 12, maybe 15,000 with an owner, and you got players that people care about. Look at 10 years ago when Cespedes was here and Coco Crisp, Grant Balfour. We had a nice crowd, Sean Doolittle. We had a nice lineup. Our team was getting in the playoffs. We had people showing up. Now, they couldn't get over that little hump. I understand there's a few missing pieces you got to find, but when you got an owner like this that doesn't give a shit, then what do? We sit here, we can take the beatings because we've been through the beatings, but Las Vegas doesn't know what they're in for if this team does end up leaving. But tonight in the All-Star game, in the fifth inning, we're going to have fans rewind back to June 13th's fifth inning with the A's and Tampa Bay Rays. There have been flyers from the Oakland 68s and the Last Dive Bar sent out to Seattle with fans that are from Oakland going out. There are flyers going out there saying in the fifth inning on the first batter, stand up in complete silence for the whole at bat of the very first batter of the fifth inning. Whatever happens with that batter, out, on base, home run, whatever, then the crowd needs to start chanting, sell the team, really loud as can be in the top of the fifth inning after the very first out. This is what we did in Oakland on June 13th. And if you listen to both Oakland and Tampa Bay's feeds, you will hear clearly sell the team chant for a good minute. And it was strong. Oakland couldn't really talk about it, but Tampa Bay and every other team in Major League Baseball have pretty much stuck by the A's staying in Oakland and have pretty much had the fans' backs. So this is a big thing coming up in the All-Star game. Plus, we got the greatest player of today right now, Shohei Ohtani, on display. He has had rumors of possibly being traded by the trade deadline. I will be shocked if this dude gets traded, but then I don't think it's a big deal. I think he deserves to be traded and head to a team that gives a damn, because right now Mike Trout, I forget what his injury was, but he got injured not too long ago, and he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. And right now the Angels are only sitting a game under 500. So I don't think they're going to be able to make a playoff push. So they only have a couple of weeks until the trade deadline's up, and they're going to have to make a call on Shohei and figure out what they're going to do. And then you never know. They may have to make a deal on a Trout coming up here as well in the next year or so, even though he signed that big contract a couple of years ago. But for the All-Star game, I really haven't looked at the lineups, but all I know is there's 4 former Oakland A's in this lineup, 2 starting for the American League and our former catcher, Jonah Heim, and Marcus Semien, second baseman, both with the Texas Rangers. Then you have Sean Murphy as starting catcher from Atlanta for the National League. And you have Matt Olson, our former first baseman, who is currently Atlanta's first baseman. He's a reserve, but he's also on that. He's also on that all-star lineup. How do you do that, dude? How do you have 4 guys in the all-star game that should be signed to long-term deals with your team? This is the example of what I'm saying about John Fisher. This is the bullshit we're going through out here. So that's why I hope our fans and the rest of MLB fans pass out these flyers stating fifth inning, let's stand up, let's be silent for that first batter, and then let's yell, sell the team like crazy. I'm pulling for the National League to win this one. I only have one AL guy, Brent Rooker, an outfielder from the Oakland A's in there. I hope he does well, but I have a feeling the National League is going to take this one. I'm not sure if any of you guys have been watching baseball or have a side you're picking. I'd like to hear if anybody has their thoughts on who they think would win.
Honestly, I mean, I watch more baseball than probably everybody else that originally is on the show, and I know Ezra can agree with me because he pretty much calls me the baseball genius of the show because I'm a huge Atlanta Braves fan myself. So, honestly, given all the success that the American League has had over the past several years in the All-Star game, I'm actually kind of surprised they're being picked as the underdog to the National League tonight. Now, do I think National League could...
But that National League team, though, I've looked at the rosters earlier today, and they are stacked. I mean,
the National League roster is stacked because
heavy hitters on that team, that's for sure.
I mean, Atlanta pretty much has their entire infield who's going to be on that field at some point in this game tonight. I mean, Ozzie Albies over there at second, Matt Olson at first, Arcia at shortstop, Austin Riley at third. You can't forget about Ronald Acuna, who was the top vote getter in the National League, who was starting in right field. And even though they're not going to be pitching tonight, Spencer Strider and Bryce Elder. I mean, Atlanta is just completely loaded right now. And going into the All-Star break, we were the only team with 60 wins in the major leagues heading into the All-Star break. So I'm loving what Atlanta's doing right now. I'm really loving it.
And they can get over
You
90
guys got
wins,
what,
not
4 or
surprised.
5 in there, right?
I think yeah. We got, I think it's 4.5, 5 games on Tampa Bay for the best record in all of baseball.
Yeah, and they went head to head last week, didn't they?
Yeah, beat them 2 out of 3 on Tampa Bay's home field.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm really
that's
proud with what Atlanta's doing. And even though we did lose Freddie Freeman a couple years ago and lost Dansby Swanson in the offseason, the fact that Atlanta has been able to put less than stellar players on the field who are making a much stellar impact, that just lets you know that Atlanta is doing whatever they can to win a second World Series championship in a 3-year span. And honestly, I hope it happens. I would love for Atlanta to win another World Series this year. I would absolutely love it.
Yeah, they got the opportunity to with that squad they have.
They sure do. They sure do.
Yeah. So, you know, with baseball's in full swing. Hell, you know what? I'm going to have more time to jump on with you guys for, 20, 30 minutes possibly down the road. So I'll be able to do more boxing reports. And Joseph, I'll be able to jump in with you for some baseball talk as we continue along.
Heck yeah.
I'm
always down for it, HiJacker. Always down.
Oh, yeah. And we definitely miss your
man.
boxing reports, man. I mean, just like used to do those, haven't done those in a long, long time. And what's been going on, in the boxing realm, that's been catching your eye?
Man, I've been watching a lot of history fights, man. I haven't purchased DAZN, but it looks like I may have to get in that because there's a ton of boxing on there.
Yeah,
including
HiJacker is actually DAZN is actually the zone.
The zone, okay. Yeah, see, I don't look at it that much and see it's okay. So it's called the zone now when they called it DAZN back in the day, I guess when it first came out a couple of years ago. So the zone. But let's see. Let me check my notes here because I got a couple things. So I got a couple of fights I wanted to discuss here for a brief moment.
Okay.
I do want to ask
What's
real
up?
quick, HiJacker. I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, you good?
there was a huge announcement that I just happened to see on the ESPN app earlier, and that is the big fight between Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou in a boxing match. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
Former
Yes,
UFC heavyweight champion.
I'm looking forward to that.
Wow.
That's gonna be a dog fight.
And it's scheduled in Saudi Arabia of all places.
Yeah,
October
that's gonna be an
28th.
absolute
October
dog fight.
28th. Now I was gonna ask y'all how you say homeboy's name, Francis Ngannou.
Ngannou.
Francis
I'm not
Ngannou.
Ngannou. Okay. I'm not a big MMA person. I haven't really watched it over the years. This fight will take place in Saudi Arabia under standard boxing rules out there. October 28th in a regulation boxing ring with standard boxing rules. It says here after UFC, Francis, after his UFC came to an end, his contract earlier this year, he signed a lucrative deal with PFL in May that allow him to pursue in boxing matches. So Francis hasn't fought since January of 22 when he retained his heavyweight title in a unanimous decision over, Gain?
Yeah.
UFC 270.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it said, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I can tell you about Francis. Francis is a heavy-handed, big guy. He's about as big as Tyson Fury is. He's 6'4", 257, an absolute beast of a guy. He's got his final record was 17-3, including 12 wins by knockout.
Oh gosh.
Well, they say he's not going to be able to match well with Tyson Fury, who's a natural boxer.
Yeah.
But if he can throw hands, I know he's a combat fighter, but if he can throw hands and take those leather gloves on his hands deep into a fight, I have a feeling he's going to be able to last with Fury and be able to go. He's just got to be able to block and guard on Fury's punches because he starts throwing those heavy body combos. I don't know if he's going to be able to block those, but if he can, and just take some shots on the shoulder versus up on the head, I think he's going to be able to go the distance in this fight.
Right.
These guys are going to get paid well. Both these guys are going to get paid well from this fight. You know, we've been having ever since Floyd Mayweather Jr. and what's his name fight for the first time when he came out of MMA. McGregor, yeah, Conor McGregor. You know, a lot of MMA guys are stepping out of the octagon and heading to the ring. And then I'm hearing Floyd was also trying to go into the octagon, but it's like, dude, I think he should stay out of that realm. He's better off in the boxing ring, in my opinion. But yeah, man, this fight's going to be heavy hitting, and I will definitely be involved in watching this fight because this has my attention. It's two big, giant heavyweights. It makes me think of, you know, Muhammad Ali and George Foreman all over again. Just two big dudes that can just beat the hell out of each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a feeling someone's going to go down in this fight, man. Somebody is going to go down.
Absolutely, man. I agree. And real quick, before you move on to your other quick notes, I just want to say that to me, the two best MMA fighters that could go into the boxing world and make an impact, the Diaz brothers, Nick and Nate.
Yes.
Those two are the best boxers in the entire world of mixed martial arts. They train in boxing as well as jiu-jitsu. They are not just pure MMA combat sports athletes. Nick Diaz is considered by many to be the best boxer, quote unquote, in MMA because of his combos, because of his ability to move and block, his footwork. So if Nick or Nate were to go into the boxing world, I think they would have tremendous success. But HiJacker, you wanted to get to a few other notes before you have to go into the cigar lounge. So go ahead and why don't you go ahead and lead us in, man?
Okay. So we got 2016 American Olympic boxer Shakur Stevenson. He didn't win gold that year when he was 17 fighting for the in the Olympics, but he has been raising hell through his career as he is 20-0 with 10 KOs since he turned professional in 2017, I believe it was. He is chasing down WBC lightweight champion Devin Haney. He is requesting the WBC give him a fight, and he's saying it's mandatory, and they're trying to push for it to be a 50-50 purse split on the fight. Now, Devin Haney, 30 wins, no losses, 15 KOs. He's not a pushover. He is not a pushover. This has the makings of possibly, I can say, like maybe Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield back in the day, maybe earlier than when they actually did fight. But even though when they did fight, it was still a good draw because you have two great legends going at it. These two guys still have a name for themselves to make, but this fight here could end up being the fight of the year, in my opinion, if these two get down. Shakur Stevenson is a former featherweight and super featherweight title holder. He's established himself as a mandatory challenger to Haney's belt right now. So he just came off a victory from, let's see, what's the dude's name? Run it through. So Devin Haney fought Vasily Lomachenko, beat him to retain his 4 light heavyweight belts not too long ago, back in May. And then Shakur Stevenson came off of beating Yoshino, a Japanese fighter, back in April. So both these guys have had recent fights earlier this year. So this right here, I'm looking forward to it, man. I am looking forward to it. This fight has my attention, and honestly, this was probably the first fight I've seen unfold earlier this week that got my attention and wanted me to start getting back into doing my reports and start watching boxing pretty much full time when I have a chance to catch fights and come report, because I think the best thing for me to do is jump on live with you guys and talk for a few minutes about it instead of recording it and chopping it and editing on the block like I have in the past, because it's a lot easier. I do have a few minutes to be able to get on with you guys and chop it up and talk, so that's it's just what it is, man. And plus it's fun getting on here with you guys because I don't get that much time to jump on with you guys and get on the show. And then the last fight I want to talk about is a women's fight, Alicia Baumgartner versus Christina Leonardo 2, I think is how you say her name. They're getting ready to set for their second fight this Saturday, July 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on The Zone. Am I saying that right, Ezra? The Zone, right?
Yep, The Zone. Yeah.
They're going to be on there fighting tonight. These two first met, or actually it's going to be in Detroit, Michigan at the Masonic Temple. And this is Bumgarner's backyard. She was born in Detroit, Michigan area. So she's going to have a fight at home with a passionate boxing crowd. I don't think there's a passionate crowd bigger than Detroit from what I hear out there in the nation. I may have to do some more digging into that, but they're going to be fighting in her backyard this weekend. But the first two met back in 2018, and Christina won by split decision. And ever since then, Bumgarner won her next 8 fights, and she made a name for herself when she knocked out the WBC super featherweight champion Terry Harper back in 2000. I think that was 2019 or maybe 20. But this is another fight that is heavy on the list that if people want to check out Alicia Bumgarner and Christina Leonardo 2 this weekend on DAZN at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. This should be a heavy-hitting fight if you do like women's boxing.
Yeah, and actually, I got to know for boxing. I just looked up myself, HiJacker. This is something I think you'll be interested in.
What you got?
July 29th on Showtime pay-per-view. Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford for the undisputed welterweight world championship.
Yes, that's going to be a heavy-hitting fight. I'm finally glad they got that one in the books because they've been chasing each other for almost probably the latter part of a year. And it's going to be sweet because both these guys, they don't have heavy knockout power, but they have that speed that can set up a shot that if they wobble you, they could set up with a shot that can put you down. So this is going to be a fight. And and you say that's on Showtime, right? On Showtime pay-per-view?
Yeah, Showtime pay-per-view from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Ah, shit, there's that fucking city again. I like to go out there and party, not watch sports, but I'll go out there to watch boxing. Yes, but no, I'll be definitely into that fight, and I will definitely hit you guys back up with a report once that one is done. You guys, thank you for giving me the time. I got to jump off. I wish I can talk more, but I got to get into the lounge and get going with my shift there. Appreciate you, brothers. Love you. Y'all have a good rest of the show.
Yes, sir. Love you too, bro.
We'll see you next time.
All right, guys.
Later.
All
right, and that
was awesome.
Yes, it was. That was HiJacker Mike, ladies and gentlemen, with a live edition of Nation Night Fights. And you can follow HiJacker Mike at Mr. Mac. You can follow that. Of course, his link will be in the video description as he is, of course, the editor of our intro and outro videos. You can follow him there. Follow Smoke N the Bay, Smoke N THABAY on Twitter and on YouTube. As he'll have cigar reviews, accessory reviews, and more. Check that out as well. What a great moment, or what a great segment that was, guys.
He hasn't done a Nation Night Fights episode since December 9th of 21. So yeah, our boy has been busy taking care of business across the bay and doing his thing down there, you know, and really cool to have him on again, you know, after we had him on with his boys and Hal and Gabriel and Boss on June 6th, talking about the Oakland Athletics situation down there with John Fisher and Dave Cavill. And just, I mean, I hope tonight that MLB fans from around the world at that game will stand up and exclaim the phrase, "Sell the team," and chant it as loud as you can to let everybody know in the MLB world that Oakland needs to stay in California.
Absolutely.
And keep in mind, like you mentioned in the intro, Steven, Save the Bay is coming up in exactly the 25th.
Yep, July 25th, San Francisco Giants and Oakland Athletics fans will come together, not just for just a baseball game, but to save the Bay, as they're calling it. They're uniting the Bay to come together as one to give their protests and their honest opinions on one John Fisher and one Dave Cavil. And as they are calling it, Save the Bay. And very cool tagline for that. And also shout outs to Gabriel. He's been posting on Twitter, and Hal has as well. And Mike has on their respective Twitter pages talking about the Sell the Team shirts, and those are out there. So if you are in the California region, or if you want to get one of those shirts, reach out to Gabriel, reach out to Hal, the hot dog guy, reach out to Mike out there in California, and they will hook you up with a Sell the Team t-shirt.
Yep, absolutely. And don't forget, and hopefully he'll be on real soon to talk more about this, and also boxing. And one little thing about the Terrence Crawford Errol Spence Jr. fight: both men are undefeated in their professional records.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Errol Spence Jr. 28-0. Terrence Crawford 39-0.
Ooh, okay.
Two men undefeated records. Just absolutely going to just go at it. It's going to be a great fight on July 29th.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick before we close out the show today, a couple other quick notes I wanted to get into. I'm glad we got into the Francis Ngannou note, because I was going to talk about that. Alvin Kamara has agreed to a plea deal to plead no contest to a lesser charge in a felony charge of battery, and the conspiracy to commit battery misdemeanor charge. He has pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor charge of breach of peace. He will do 30 hours of community service and pay the alleged victim in the fight $105,000 for medical bills. So looks like that's pretty much done. That drama's done for Kamara right now.
Very interesting with Kamara.
Yeah.
He has a track record now, and he needs to keep it clean, because if he keeps acting up, he's going to be off the team.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Real quick, right now it's the top of the second in the All-Star game, 0-0 right now. Of course, that's going on right now on Fox. So if you're watching Fox right now, please prepare for that. Let's see, real quick. That's pretty much it. Anybody got anything they want to talk about real quick before we kind of do a little wrap up?
I actually think I'm good.
I think I'm good too.
Because there really wasn't much in the world of the NFL. NHL's been kind of quiet. We forgot to mention, Victor Wembanyama has been shut down for the rest of the season.
Yeah, for the rest of the summer league. Yep.
Yeah, rest of the summer league. He had that 27-point performance, and then they shut him down to prevent injury, of course.
Yeah, which I was talking to Steven right before the show started. I'm actually not surprised that I'm not surprised that the Spurs did that, because Wembanyama is going to be he's definitely the best overall player in the NBA draft stock class since I don't know how long. So
probably since Durant, honestly.
Yeah, and top profile players like him who have such a big window to fill, they typically don't play every single game in the summer league. They just want to get their feet wet, get their feet on the court, and just see what they can do for a couple games, and then shut them down in hopes to have them ready to go for the full regular season. So I'm not surprised at that, but I said it a couple weeks on the show, and I'm going to say it again. Charlotte made an absolute mistake drafting Brandon Miller over Scoot Henderson.
Yes, they did. Yes,
Brandon Miller has not done jack diddly squat here in this summer league. So and Charlotte, you screwed up big time.
Henderson said it. Henderson said it himself on the draft, and in June of last month, that he has the most experience out of all of these players in the draft, and he's right. I mean, he's not lying. I mean, he's already been in the G League, playing all those games down there, multiple games, not just a game here and there, just multiple games, and perfecting his craft to basketball. And now look what's fixing to happen. He's going to be on Portland, and he could make some noise down there, and that just begs the question again at the top of the hour, like we were talking about, is Lillard going to stay? Because Lillard and Scoot down there, they could do some damage, but Lillard wants money and Lillard wants Miami. And
Lillard wants a ring.
And he wants a ring, and obviously, yes. But the biggest question is, can Miami fill, the rest of that roster up with credible role players like they had on the last couple of teams that reached the finals two out of the last 4 years, and the conference finals 3 out of the last 4 years? I mean, I'm sorry, but if Lillard goes to Miami, I can't foresee, this being a success in the first year, because I mean, and also I forgot to mention too that Ben Simmons could be in this trade package if the Magic, I believe if the Magic get involved. I mean, just a third team is going to have to step in and make this trade happen, because it's a blockbuster trade. But either way, Miami could possibly lose 1 or 2 key role players, and that's 5 role players they could possibly lose, and they've already lost 3. I mean, it's just, you got to be wise. You got to be wise how you spend your money, and I mean, the Celtics are a different looking team. The Heat are a different looking team right now. I mean, it's just, the West is just dominant. They have all of these great teams that have been put together in the last 4 or 5 seasons, and the West is just showing their dominance, now again, like they have in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely, I agree. Real quick before we get out of here, real quick, and first of all, we want to say thank you to everybody who watched the show today. We appreciate it. Thank you to HiJacker Mike for joining us. Of course, live edition of Nation Night Fights, plus a little bit of sports talk, sell the team talk, all that good stuff we have with HiJacker. As always, we appreciate what he does. Real quick before we go, real quick, I just want to mention this real quick, and that is the biggest news of the day in the world of pro wrestling, and that is that coming to GCW on August 4th in Detroit will be none other than Jeff Hardy. Now, a lot of people thought that Jeff would be wrestling, but that's not the case. Jeff will only be making an in-ring appearance on the show. He will not be wrestling, because Matt has said that Jeff has committed to not take any bookings involving matches on the independent scene, so he could continue to focus on AEW, his meet and greet appearances, his acoustic performances, and his sobriety. So he is not going to be wrestling on that show, but Jeff will be there because he and his brother are both going to be at WrestleCon doing an autograph signing that was also announced earlier today. And then afterwards, after GCW ends, Jeff will be at Harpo's, the same venue, I believe, where he will be doing an acoustic performance.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Some of his original material. So this is pretty cool about that. But also tomorrow, I know we're gonna plug Nation's Corner, and Nation's Corner is gonna have a lot to talk about tomorrow, Steven, on Saturday, including tomorrow with Dynamite, with the debut of the Prince of the Pacific Northwest, Nick fucking Wayne.
Yes, sir.
Swerve Strickland. And Nick Wayne, one of the most highly touted independent professional wrestlers, the son of the legendary Buddy Wayne, the man who not only trained Nick Wayne, but trained a host of pro wrestlers out of that Seattle scene, including Darby Allin himself, who took Nick Wayne under his wing when Buddy passed away. So Nick has gone on to become a tag team champion in GCW. He's gone on to face Will Ospreay in one of the most highly talked about matches of last year. He's gone on to so many degrees of success. He's wrestled for DDT in Japan. He's done a couple tours of Japan already, and he just turned 18 years old.
Nice.
This kid has a bright future in professional wrestling, and he's only going to go up from here. And I hope tomorrow that crowd is saying, Nick fucking Wayne, Nick fucking Wayne. Come on, you got to do it. You got to do it.
We're all of us, whether it be Nation's Corner, Nation's Sports, we're beyond excited for this guy because he is a
talented kid,
once in a lifetime prodigy. This kid is. He's got something special, and I think he's the future of this business, along with another person who may be finishing up her last independent bookings coming up. That being, of course, Billy Starks, who also signed a contract with AEW earlier this year.
Talented. She's talented too, and she
talented.
wrestled Athena a few weeks ago.
Yep.
For the ROH Women's Championship on the buy-in for Forbidden Door. That was an excellent match.
She is the youngest woman, the youngest Gaijin, as they say, American or foreign woman to ever wrestle at Korakuen Hall. So
Freaking crazy.
Yeah. She's already making waves. Of course, GCW standout, just like Nick Wayne is. Wrestled Utami from Stardom just recently on GCW. Had a banger of a match. So get a chance to check that out on Fight Plus. Just wanted to plug that. Nation's going to have a lot to talk about. Steven, why don't you go ahead and plug our good friends, as we always do on the show?
Yes, you can watch the Nation's Corner every single Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. And like Ezra just said, they will have a lot to talk about in the world of professional wrestling. And you can follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. Everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, it is at the Nation's Corner.
Absolutely. And also, I want to plug real quick, shout out to Mission Pro Wrestling, because August 12th, they have an event called Boiling Point. And on that night, if you guys know her, you might as well. Bailey's #1 fan is now a pro wrestler, and Izzy Moreno will be making her in-ring debut as she takes on none other than top-tier Jasmine Allure in her debut match. And it's going to be an absolute fight after what happened at True Colors, the last event where Jasmine Allure viciously attacked Izzy after trying to give her a friendship bracelet. It is going to be an absolute war. We know, Izzy's going to be looking to gain some sense of vengeance and some sense of payback against Jasmine for what happened. And we're all excited. We're all supporting Izzy, and we cannot wait to see Izzy tear it up in her debut match ever as a professional wrestler. So we're all excited about that as well. Joey, final thoughts before we okay, Steven, final thoughts real quick.
So great show with you guys tonight, talking about the world of sports. And again, shout outs to our boy HiJacker Mike coming on the show tonight and giving his thoughts on the MLB All-Star game and a live rendition of Nation Night Fights and a boxing report. And man, just all the stuff that's going on. NBA's heating up. With the off season, MLB's heating up with the second half of the season fixing to be upon us, and the NFL, as we know, is going to be back before we know it. And in the month of August, we'll be breaking every division down, and splitting across 4 episodes with each division, 2 divisions, and each the conferences being broken down. It's going to be fun in this next month and a half because we're back and. We're so glad to be back on the air with you guys this week after having the week off with our family and our friends. And looking forward to next week getting back on here and talking about whatever goes on in the world of sports. And maybe we'll have some news on Damian Lillard, possibly maybe going to Miami, but who knows?
We will see. Definitely thank you guys for joining us. It was a very well put together show. We appreciate everybody. Oh, there he is. Must have had a little bit of a hiccup there. That happens. Technology sucks ass. We know that.
Yeah, my internet decided to want it to be stupid and decided to freeze on me. Decided to kick me out altogether. So, yeah, you gotta love technology nowadays.
Your final thoughts, my brother. Since Steven already did it, guess what? You get to close it out.
All right, but yeah, amazing show with you guys. It was great being back on after being off last week. But I hope everybody had a safe and fun 4th of July. Celebrate with friends and family. Enjoy the sports that's coming up soon. Enjoy the wrestling that's coming up. And I do want to point out one quick thing, and this is going to be my last thought for the night. In regards to Jeff Hardy, I'm actually going to have a chance to meet him and Matt in a couple of weeks because they are going to be at GalaxyCon in Raleigh.
Very
And I'll
nice.
be going.
Very nice.
Yes, and I'll be going to that, and I'll also have a chance to meet wrestlers such as Ric Flair, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, Ric Flair, Mick Foley. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to GalaxyCon coming up in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it, but
yes,
that's all the thoughts I have for tonight. So peace out, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I have nothing coming up myself. Nothing yet. The next event I'll probably be doing will be All Out, and more than likely, maybe GCW Say You Will, which takes place that weekend of All Out. Of course, StarCast, the big convention that happens during All Out weekend and All In as well, is back, and they're doing their whole shtick again at the Hyatt Regency Schaumburg. Of course, that'll be coming up for the 1st through the 3rd. Bracelets are on sale now. Platinum and gold bracelets are on sale now, as well as G8 tickets. You can go get that at starcast.com. Of course, you can get whatever you need everywhere else. You can find us at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/ONation Sports Show, Instagram.com/ONation Sports Show. I have a link tree in my Twitter account and my Instagram account, Deadman469. You can follow me there. And link tree there has all the links to everything from the Nation's Corner to my personal Twitter and Instagram accounts, and of course the Nation's Corner YouTube and in the Our Nation Sports Show YouTube as well. So with that being said, for our boy Kevin Rory, God bless you, buddy, to Joey Thornton, Stevie Wyand, and our boy in spirit, Randy Guyard, and our other boy, HiJacker Mike, host of Nation Night Fights, I am Ezra Vickery. We will see you next week for another great edition of Our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy the sports, enjoy the All-Star game, and we will see you on Tuesday. Same time, same YouTube channel. Have a great week. Peace out.